Hello, beautiful souls. Erica here. I'm a psychic medium, an energy coach, and a quantum healer. And today I wanted to talk about psychic attacks and spiritual interference and what this is and what types there are. So today I wanted to cover 6 different types of spiritual attacks that I have personally experienced several of them. And through being a practitioner, I experienced them with my clients. So the first one we're going to talk about is a direct energy attack. So what is this? It's an intentional negative thought. It can be a thought, or it can be direct energy directed at a person, an individual with intention. It could be through spells, it could be through rituals, it could be through witchcraft, black magic, you name it, any of that. That holds the frequency of the person, usually works with images, with pictures, or with an object that belongs to the person, or with like direct DNA. It could be hair, it could be underwear, things like that are personal items that are put into a ritual with intention. Many of these things work with entities, so that it starts affecting the energetic field of the person that is directed to. So depending on what dimension of your soul this is directed at, it can affect you physically. Well, this is kind of like the last step that we start to see, but it starts affecting you mentally, emotionally. Sometimes these rituals can be directed to affect you financially, like a person starts losing their business and things start happening like kind of like out of the blue. There's not really sense to this. It's just kind of overimposed energy that many times doesn't make sense. Some of the symptoms that people experience when they are under these rituals, spells, black magic, and all of this is lack of sleep, waking up constantly, or feeling that there is somebody watching them when they're alone, or seeing something with the back of their eye. Because many of these rituals or spells, they employ entities. So these dark entities are sent to affect the person's field and disturb their aura, their energy. So they're continuously creating density that affects them in many levels of their life, primarily emotionally or spiritually, especially when they're trying to sleep, because many people that are under this effects, they don't find restorative sleep, restful sleep, and they're constantly in like a negativity mindset, and they feel dense, and they cannot really pinpoint it. They don't find a specific reason why these things are happening in their life. Sometimes these things can transcend and manifest physically. Some people have experienced like thousands of insects in their house, like flies, like 80, hundreds in a day, 2 days, 3 days, or like smell that is not pleasant, that is not good in a specific areas of their life or their clothing. And they just feel like they're not themselves because they're really not. It's like an overimposed frequency band that creates distorted energy around them, so it interferes with their original blueprint, with their plan, with who they are, with who they're being, because it's kind of overimposed on their energy field, and it creates all these types of dissonance in themselves, so they don't feel like things are going right, that there's something really wrong and they don't know what. After some period of time, after it affects you spiritually, emotionally, and mentally, starts affecting your physical body, many people go to the doctor and they cannot find the real cause of what is happening to them, but they just have a lot of different things going on with the body. But this starts in the spiritual body and then moves subsequently to the physical body. And now we have to treat all of the effects, the physical, the mental, the spiritual, in order to remove all these layers of discordant energy. Another one that I wanted to cover, second one, is thought forms. Thought forms, and I like to call it too, energetic weather. These are everywhere, and depending on where you reside in the world, these are like collective bubbles of consciousness that are thought, that are generated by the collective, that if you don't have to be sensitive, you don't have to be intuitive, you tap into, because we are part of the whole, and all of a sudden you feel really negative, you feel really dense, you feel really tired. And similar to the previous one that we talked about, you're like, but why? I don't have any particular personal reason to feel this way. It feels like overimposed. It feels like outside of yourself, that is not you, because it's not you. You're just tapping into another form of energy that is thought forms that you are tapping into, and you, because we have this really big torus field that connects to all that is allowing us to receive information. So basically it's just information in the field that you're receiving. But the moment that you start owning it and feeling like yourself, that's when it starts affecting you mentally, spiritually, emotionally, then physically, because you feel tired, you don't have energy, you just want to sleep, you just feel like sadness and you cannot explain why you feel sad, or you just feel like constant negative thoughts being generated in your mind. Sometimes, and I had to experience this myself, being a psychic for all my life and not knowing when I was a kid all the way till I was a teenager, but I used to feel like thoughts that I later identified that they were generated by other people. Like, for example, thoughts about cheating, thoughts about doing like mischievous behaviors and things like that, and things that wouldn't personally occur to me, that were generated by others around me, and I was tapping into them. But there's a way to identify when it's not yours, and I think I teach my clients a method to start checking in with themselves and knowing their energy baseline. That is the most important, because then you can start identifying when something is not yours, when some energy that is out of the field is just energetic weather and you're tapping into and it's not yours, and then ways to move it out of your field, move it out of your body, so you don't have to anchor it and feel it like your own. Because the moment that we identify with it, it gets stuck. It gets really stuck in our field, and it's a little bit trickier to remove. But the moment that you recognize that it's not yours, that it's just like energy in motion, in and out, you start dissolving it with much more ease. Now let's talk about the third one, energetic vampirism. So what is it? We hear this term about vampires, and we see in the movies about vampires like taking blood. It's not really blood, it's energy. Energy is chi, energy is source, energy is in my awareness, is the most important thing you can own. And a lot of beings also benefit from energy. Some people like to use other people's chi even without knowing. Some people have this energy of they're takers, and they're gonna take. They deplete their own, and they're just gonna take. And they know, even like they don't know it consciously, they know it unconsciously, of who is usually empaths that fall prey to energetic vampirism, because they are kind of a magnet for this type of takers, that they're just being in their presence, just loading all their density onto others, projecting, and then taking. Many times this looks in the forms of complaint. People complaining about, oh, my life sucks, my husband left me, I was cheated on, I lost my house, that constantly. People that like to complain a lot, they deplete their own energetic centers, they deplete their chi, and they like to take others by finding rapport with people that are gonna listen to them again and again for thousands of times, and they're gonna replenish their depletion by taking other people's energy. How do you know? Well, almost immediately after you hang out with certain people, you feel drained. You just feel like mental fog. You cannot think clearly. You cannot know what really happened, and you're like, wait a minute, I feel just so confused. What did just happen? So then you start identifying who these people are in your life, and just so you know that many people don't do it intentionally. They're not just like going out, they're like, I'm gonna take other people's energy. It just happens unconsciously. It's just like kind of like how they're built. It's their mechanism they're just takers. Some people are givers, like especially empaths, intuitives, all souls, light beings that come here to support the collective, and we kind of tend to fall prey to this type of energetic vampires. But we can start identifying, and the more that we grow and the more that we raise our consciousness and awareness, then we can create change within ourselves and create boundaries that are sacred boundaries that protect our energy, so that we are not available for everyone, because we really shouldn't be available for everyone and just take all my energy all the time. So the next one that I want to talk about is energy manipulation and infiltration in individual consciousness to generate lower harmonic vibrations. The benefits being that have certain agendas, usually beings that feed off our energy. As I was saying earlier, energy is the most important resource we can have, even though we're not aware of it. Some beings, sometimes they're multidimensional, they're not physical. I'm talking about extraterrestrials and other beings. They, through implants, through abductions, through penetrating the person's field to feed off directly of the energy. So they intentionally manipulate the thought forms that are generated through those implants and start creating more lower harmonics, more density, more complaints. I have a personal experience with this that I talk about in private groups that I usually not recorded, because this story I'm not ready to share in the open, but I can share experience that I had about 3 years ago. That was my first experience directly working with people having extraterrestrial implants in the body. And the person had a lot of negativity, a lot of depression, a lot of anxiety. We're treating it with energetics and quantum energy in different forms, and nothing is really shifting, nothing is really happening. Till I think it was maybe the 4 or 6 sessions she came multiple times, and one time this just showed up. That she was laying on a table when I had my physical office, and mediumistically I started seeing something that resembled like a spider, but kind of like robotic, in form, you know, with legs and moving kind of like robotic movements in her body. And as I was laying my hands, when I was finding them in different places of her body, she was constricting and she was finding pain in these areas. And I was like asking mediumistically, what is this? What is happening? They kept coming up was implants. So these were alien implants. She was aware that she was abducted when she was younger, and that this has been happening to her. So her energetic field, her mental state, her whole beingness were being affected by these beings. We found out that she had a lot of entrainments with these beings from past existences. So there were connections even previous to this lifetime. So in my awareness, there is not even permission or contract directly with these beings. It kind of violates your free will in order for them to take something that is gonna benefit them, which is our energy, our resources. And especially these beings that feed off of negative energy, they like to make these implants so that the person finds a lot of pain in their life, the person finds a lot of turmoil in their life, and the mental state is very dense. So it's hard for them to come out of it until these implants are really addressed, so the person can feel more like themselves. I also have another experience, this is more recent, of a client that she used to be my client, and then she reached out because her little kid was having these behaviors, attacking other kids and being like trying to harm herself. She knew that this wasn't normal, even though she took her to many doctors, many specialists, and nobody was finding an answer. The only thing that I had advised her to do was to medicate her, and then it kind of occurred to her to reach out because of the previous sessions that we had. And so I started remotely connecting to the consciousness of the child, and I also found that this child was being interfered by multidimensional beings to benefit in that way. And as soon as we started addressing that energetically, it completely changed. Completely. That was she expressed herself that was the thing that made the most difference, because it was very, very difficult case. She was harming other kids, trying to harm herself, and having this violent outbursts out of the blue. And she was very stressed as a mother. So we did different things to raise the vibration of the home. We did different things to keep a feel that it was more supportive for this child to really come out of all of these entrainments and all these implants that was affecting her directly, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. She will have like nightmares, horrible things about creatures and things that will come at her. And of course, many people don't really recall when they're being abducted, but many people now are having remembrance of those times. I have a personal experience with that, and in my close circles, I talk openly about it. I just prefer not to share it in this public space. But yeah, that stuff happens, and a lot of people are opening up to that, even though if it sounds too out there for you, maybe just if you found this video, you can find a little bit of resonance and just take what sounds true for you and just discard the rest. And the next one that I'm going to talk about is entity involvement or astral attack. So this can happen through multiple ways. Sometimes this entity involvement happens because you have an entrainment with this being from a past life, so that there was kind of a discordance or some of these ties, discords. So you still, even if the person is still disincarnated, is in the non-physical, it finds you by your frequency, wherever you are, wherever you're born, in whatever part of the world. So to that vibration is going to find you, and it's going to affect you directly from the astral realm, from the non-physical, and affect different aspects of your life. Sometimes people have repetitive dreams that occur with like these beings that are like being attacked or being chased, or some sort of interaction is happening that doesn't feel good, that doesn't feel supported. Some people too experience it, like notice something with the back of the eye, or just feeling chills, or just feeling like fearful when they find themselves in a space alone, and they're feeling fearful. They feel like somebody's watching them. They feel like somebody's there, but it doesn't feel supported. It's like, it's different when you find a connection with a light being, that you feel light, that you feel expansive, that you feel supported. Sometimes people, when they have these experiences, they feel emotional, but in a good way. There's like tears of joy and expansion when you connect with light beings. But on the contrary, with an entity, with a dense entity, you feel drained, you feel tired, you feel fear. A lot of people experience fear when you connected with these beings, and many times they come through sort of contract agreement of source with you before you even incarnated. Sometimes I have found many situations where people just like walk into a space, there was this being, and through kind of like vibrational match, there was like an open door for this being to attach, and it starts affecting them. Maybe sometimes they're asking for help, sometimes they just want to connect, or sometimes they really want to disturb this person even further. This person has a little bit of vices or addictions of any of these sorts. This entity is going to find residence in their field, and it's going to stay even longer because it's going to find his food, it's going to find what it feeds them. So it stays around that person's field so that it can generate more of what they want. It's like if it was sex, it was porn, if it was any type of addiction or things that it was lower harmonic that really enjoy what they were living, they like to find people that resonate with that frequency so they can have it more constantly. Now, they don't have the physical body, they can experience that momentarily through others. And I can talk more about, because this isn't a topic in itself. I have a lot of experience with entity involvement. I was in spiritism circles for 15 years, and I have experienced countless of, we call it kind of like an interview on the tables when a medium is in trance and the spirit, non-physical, is sharing what happened, what transcended, and who they are, and how they kind of attach to people, sometimes for many decades, being unnoticed, till it kind of has an expiration day. The person start noticing things start happening that they feel like not quite right, and that's when they decide to seek out for help. Sometimes it's difficult because when it's been so many years, it really start affecting the physical body. Kind of similar to, it feels sort of similar when you experience psychic attacks and direct witchcraft spells and other this kind, because it really disturbs your sleep, it disturbs your emotional being. You don't feel like yourself, you feel very low, you feel tired. So it's very similar to that. And the last one that I want to talk about is energetic cores or negative entrainments. This can happen with living people. So you have toxic relationships, you have codependency, you have unhealthy attachment to a person. that is just kind of feeding off. It's kind of like a living consciousness on its own that you created with this person that is living and is not really moving forward, and it's kind of keeping you in circles, and you're going around and around, and you're not growing, you're not getting out of it. You just feel victimized. You just feel like there is no way out. You feel that, or you're never gonna find somebody like whoever that is, and things like that. Kind of like doomsdays mentality, that you feel trapped. So this is what you experience when you're having this energetic cords, these negative entrainments with a person, and you try to leave that person, and you feel that you can, and you try to leave it, and then you can eventually come back to this person. It's just like, oh my gosh, how do I even get out of it? And my way of knowing is like just knowing, just having the awareness and making a choice that can free you out of that circumstance. So I always believe that we live in a quantum soup with all possibilities. So what you're living, the exact polarity is right around the corner. All you need to really do is like have the awareness in what situation you're in, and then look for a way to flip it so you can transform it to its opposite, to its polarity. So that will be freedom, liberation, having the courage to live that relationship, having the courage to empower yourself and to really move forward without all of those entrainments that are really not serving you. Because you know when something is not serving you. You know when you don't feel good in your life, when you don't feel like good in yourself and your emotions, like, you know. So with all of this, I just wanted to share, and of course there is many ways to find out and to look for help, but the most important is to have awareness and then notice. I love to say the most beautiful thing we can do is to be present in our life. Many people are so asleep that life is bypassing them. They're just kind of like on the back seat, just seeing the motions, just kind of seeing everything from the background. But the moment that you start to be more present in your life, the moment that you start to just observe everything, not like with like so much fixation, but like a neutral observer, your life starts to change, because the things that you find that don't support you, you can shift them. Sometimes just with awareness alone, just like knowing like, that's interesting that I'm repeating this pattern, or that's interesting that I'm thinking that negative thought. Where did it come from? The moment that you see it with your gaze, with your presence, it shifts. It starts shifting. Start moving energetically out of your field. So I don't have a list of like, do this, do that. There's many rituals, there's many things that you can do to release negativity from your field. But the most important for me and the most powerful is awareness. Awareness and making inventory of your life, of what you're experiencing, what is happening to you, and then you can create the change that you desire, having awareness of what is at hand, of the life that you had. So I hope that you found this informative. I hope that you found this video supportive. Please give it a like, thumbs up. It helps other people find this content. And if you like my content, please subscribe. I'm gonna be uploading more and more videos. I am overcoming my shyness and fear of visibility, but I really have a lot of experiences and a lot of spiritual knowledge that I would love to share with the world. And I hope it resonates with you, and I hope it supports you in some way. My hope is that we all elevate each other and we all live our best lives. So thank you for being here. I'm wishing you all the best, and until next time.